So, okay, Kristin, let me read her. First of all, just let me read her official bio so y'all can act right. I'm just gonna do it my way. So, Kristin is my friend. She went to Spelman when I went to Morehouse. That's where we met in college, which makes her now, which is crazy, which makes her one of my oldest friends now. Like we've been knowing each other for 15 years. Oh, a minute.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't want to date either one of us, but a long time. Um,
We're seasoned.
yeah, we are seasoned. We still look like kitties.
Yeah.
What we're gonna do here is she has a strong point of view. The reason why I even wanted to invite you here is you have a strong point of view.
I do.
You're a weirdo.
Yes. I think so. I think I'm pretty weird.
Yeah, you're pretty weird. You are honestly like one of the honesties of all this is you have a cool voice. That's important for this medium.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You do. You have like you are from Indiana.
I am, yes.
What city are you from?
Indianapolis, the capital.
Okay, the one that I've heard of.
Yeah.
And yeah, you have like a smoky, almost like Southern accent, even though you're from the Midwest.
Yes, I get that a lot. Yeah.
But it also is mixed in with like, kind of like an LA kind of thing too now.
Really?
A little bit. You don't like that?
I don't know. People are really starting to associate with me with like LA, I guess after 11 years. I just celebrated 11 years on the 3rd, by the way. So I'm like fresh 11 years.
You're an industry guest on this show right now. You are. Like you're like a Hollywood guest. All right, we're gonna get into it, but let me give this bio. Okay, so Kristin, forget the notes. This is what I have. You are in college. Came to know you as Ankle Tat, obviously, because you have a tattoo on your ankle. You were a mathematician in college already, right?
Mm-hmm,
You studied mathematics.
Mm-hmm.
That was your undergrad.
And grad.
And grad, I know, and then grad. And where'd you go to grad school?
Howard.
With the Howard, you got a master's in
Theoretical math.
And then who you are today, and we're gonna like bridge the gap to figure out how you got from point A to point Z. Like you have been an editor and or assistant editor on Euphoria, Dune, Idol, The Idol. Is it Idol or The Idol? I always fuck it up. Okay.
Yeah.
And Malcolm and Marie, among others. I called you from a studio like 2 years ago. I was in the studio. You remember this? I called you. I don't think you even knew what I was doing. I called you. I was like making music with this guy that I work with, producer named Alex Tepper. And I called you to be like, yo, do you have a reel somewhere? Because like your name had just come up.
Yeah.
And you were like, just go to my IMDb. You were like, don't ask people for their reel. Just go to IMDb. I was like, excuse me, because I didn't even know the decorum. But you're very important.
No. That's a common thing that people do because they want to know like reels. But for editor, it's a whole thing like editors and reels and stuff. Like it's less, I feel like, applicable to like an editor's job, right? Like a reel is because you think about a reel and it's like a highlights reel, like it showcases like the best shots. An editor's job is to tell the best story.
Okay.
With like the best shots. So you don't really get the idea of an editor from their reel usually. So that's why it's always like, okay, I can create a reel. We have reels because we know they make other people happy. But like, it doesn't really tell you like how good of a storyteller I am.
Okay, so I want to know more about that because like I actually came to value what editors do because of the show Euphoria, I would say. But even before Euphoria came out, probably like a year before it came out, driving around LA in my, I guess, late 20s at that point, maybe, and saw the billboards, which looked very spooky and cool. And I was like, wow, this show looks so fire. Zendaya looks fucking crazy on there. Like, this looks cool. I don't even know what it's going to be. The show came out, and there's a lot of things about the show that were striking and exciting and new and whatever. But the editing pops off the screen. You know what I mean? Do you feel proud about that?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Euphoria for me was like, especially the first season, I was like still such a baby in the business, and I hadn't really found my tribe, I guess. Like that's really the goal of like every creative, right? You try to find like that team of creatives that you can work with over and over again.
Mm.
And for me, I hadn't really found that. So Euphoria kind of gave that to me. And once I was in that environment, I was like, oh shoot, like this is like real collaboration. This is like true creatives. Like we listen to each other, we ask each other's like opinions on things. Yeah. And I think that really shows in the work. You can tell that it's a super collaborative effort, which makes the project so much more special, I think. Like it's great work, but it's honestly just like my favorite team in the business.
So, okay, and I want to talk about that team a little bit, but I just want to like editing. I think editing is a term that for people inside the industry, a lot of people like kind of get it, but don't actually know exactly how it works because unless they work in post.
Yeah.
And then outside the industry, it's, I think, a term that just goes completely over people's heads. Like, what does that even mean? Like, some people probably think editing is like editing the scripts. And
Right.
what is the job? What is the magic that you all do?
So I like to tell people that editors are like writers, but with footage.
Mm.
So, you know, writers, you guys put words together to tell a story. For editors, we're simply given footage and we're told, hey, like create the best version of this like product.
Mm.
You know, and so our job is to look through all the footage, choose the best performances, choose the best angles, you know, and really think about the intention of a scene and execute it with the best shots that we have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you have to really understand story to create or to be like a good editor and to create like quality content, in my opinion.
Some people, even my manager used to make a joke like basically that the whole movie, the whole TV show gets made by the editors. Everything else is just like have fun, play around, try shit, and then hand it over to them and they'll make it into something cool.
Yeah, but I mean that's like the magic of it and sometimes the frustration of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think no one really knows how much time we put on, but like editors are like the people who are on the project the longest. You know, like we're literally on from, you know, pre-production all the way to delivery and after delivery. So a lot of our job is spent working on this one product and crafting it into the best version of itself, you know?
Yeah.
So we go through a million versions of an episode, a million versions of a scene sometimes, you know?
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, on a scale of 1 to 10, how comfortable do you feel right now? Because Kristin's in here, there's a bunch of cameras pointed at her. There's lights in here. It probably looks a little bigger than you expected it to.
And the thing is, like, I'm not really like, people are always like, Kristin, like, you're so fashionable, like, you just draw attention. But I hate attention. That's probably why I like editorial. No one knows who we are usually. Like, no one ever knows us. I love it so much. Yeah. So this is a bit intimidating.
Chris, you're let's just, all right, so we're going to start talking about work for a second.
But yeah.
You're very special, Kristin.
Okay.
I've hit you up a couple times out the blue, just on the strength, like, yo, can you come to New York and just do this thing for me?
Yep.
And this is one of those times. And you just pull up. You really don't even ask any questions.
Nope.
I mean, maybe you asked Morgan some questions, the producer, but I don't know what you did. Yeah, so
I did not.
You just come through, which I appreciate. That means you feel safe. Like you trust me on some level. But you are special because you are very fashionable. You do have a very distinct point of view. You do not intentionally draw attention to yourself. Like you're not like an out in front person. But I think you have a star quality, and that's why I keep like hitting you up every few years. Like, yo, will you jump in this thing? Because I'm just like, you know, if the last time we hung out, we were just hanging out like in New York City with our friends, right? We went out one night, like had drinks, went to a spot, you know, kicked it. It was a fun night, you know. Yeah. It was a chill night.
And we still broke out into a very deep conversation. Like then we had a nice deep conversation.
What did we talk about that night? Because I wrote
a little of everything, I think.
Yes, indeed. And I wrote down something that you said to me that night. I put it on Instagram. I was walking you back to your hotel. and I was about to jump in my Uber. We were like wrapping up our conversation. It was like we probably hadn't seen each other in a couple years because of COVID,
Yeah.
I want to say.
Yeah.
And you're right. We had talked about everything. We talked about
Well, I had just
school.
seen you at homecoming, actually. Wasn't that in
Really?
October? Because I was here in November.
You're right. That was
But
right
before
after.
then, you're right. It had been a couple years.
And that's homecoming. It's like
Yeah.
you don't get to talk to nobody at
Yeah.
homecoming. So, um, I had said something about like how entertainment and Hollywood and like this whole industry can really fuck with your relationships. Um, as I've seen it in my own experience, like with friends, we'll just leave it at that. It's become complicated, and it was especially complicated when everybody was trying to get like their shot, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it can really fuck with your relationships. And your response to that was not to mention your relationship with yourself. So, can you tell me about that? What do you mean by that? We didn't really get to unpack it. I feel like I jumped in the Uber very shortly thereafter.
Oh, man. I don't know. I feel like, anybody that's been in LA for a certain amount of time knows this and feels this. But LA has a culture of who you know type of thing. And so no matter where you go, like you want to eat somewhere nice, or maybe you just want to party. Like I'm a party person. Like I will party anywhere, anytime. I don't like to do the lines, the listing, or like drop a name. Like all that kind of stuff is not how I like to party. If it's good music, I just want to be able to get out. And in LA, there's so much like red tape to do even the simplest things. And so over time, it will make you feel like you don't hold like a certain value in that community if you allow it, But over time, like if you've been there for so long, it's really hard not to feel that way about yourself sometimes, And these are like everybody in LA is like working on something or connected to somebody like big. We're all doing big things. We're all making strides, but it just feels like sometimes in Los Angeles, the city can really go out of its way to make you feel like you're still not shit. It doesn't really matter like what you personally like overcome. And that's because everybody is accomplishing something. Everybody is trying to achieve something big. And so I think like once I entered my 30s and being in the city and like dating in LA, that's a whole other subject.
We have on my
Oh
board.
God, I know you do.
Streets. Literally, I have
And
buckets here. Industry, life, and the streets. We're gonna come back to the streets.
Yeah, we'll come back to the streets. But basically, it's just a very superficial city, and it's even hard like to find like quality people, that you just want to hang with. Because sometimes people are only interested in what you can do for them because everybody is so focused on their goal, And it's admirable. All of it is, everything that people are trying to achieve. But I think that sometimes the superficialness of the city can outweigh like how beautiful the city is and just like the greatness. So I have to remind myself occasionally, like, I'm not competing with anybody but myself. Like there's nobody that is me. And I keep my head down and I do that. And no matter like what the city tries to like tell you and things you try to do or, money or access, that's really what Los Angeles is about. It's access, right? It's like top tier access. And yeah, it'll make you feel a certain way after you've been there.
I'm gonna take these shades off because they're making me feel Hollywood. Art, I have never seen you again. Like we don't talk all the time, but I will say, like, as both of us have evolved as people over the last 15 years, I have always still felt like something essential about you is the same, and probably a lot about you is the same. You know what I mean? Have there been any moments where, I know what mine are, have there been any moments where you broke character to fit in with this place that is busted?
What? Absolutely.
Can you tell me some?
What? Oh my God.
You don't have to drop names, but just like, what does that look like? Because people always talk about the LA Hollywood thing and they talk about like people sell their souls and they sell out and whatever. But like, I think that the devil's in the details. Like, what does that look like?
What does that look like in particular? I mean, on top of being just like a Black woman like in Hollywood and like trying to find my place like on these major projects that like I've worked on, even like being in those spaces. My first like few years, I would conform like so much. There would be things that like I wouldn't even eat like around like white people in certain settings.
Shit.
Oh, like no, I was like ridiculous. I was like, dog, like when I worked at ABC, they used to have like fried chicken Wednesdays or whatever. I would never partake in that shit. I was like, oh, y'all got me fucked up.
That's racist.
It's racist. I was like, bro, I'm not part. Y'all not about to catch me slipping from. That's how ridiculous like I would be, because like when you're one of like 4,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? People are watching you all the time, you know, and it's too much. It's overwhelming. But then like I reached a point where I was like, oh, fuck it. They gonna treat me how they gonna treat me no matter what I do, no matter how I act. And I was like, I've put way too much in trying to conform or just like really stay under the radar. My whole thing was I really don't want to like be seen. Like I just want to be able to coast, do the best work I can, let my work speak for itself. So anything that drew attention to me, like I was against it altogether. And that included eating the fried chicken and the watermelon at ABC. So I was just not with it, you know? So it'd be like silly shit like that I would do.
Okay, but you are now, as you put it, you're like in a tribe now, and you're in I think that creative projects and teams and like entertainment industry, I think there are like 3 ways that we evaluate what's popping. There's like numbers, which are in a lot of ways unknowable.
Yeah.
Like streaming numbers are unknowable. That's a whole thing right now. But like you can have a sense for who has amazing ratings and who doesn't, whatever. There's like prestige value. So there's like and honestly, a lot of times there's a lot of whiteness on that shit. There's a lot of like whatever's kind of the whitest hot thing is the hot prestigious thing. And then there's like cultural impact, which I just think of as like, is your shit in the zeitgeist? Like, does your stuff have influence? Does your show get occasionally mentioned in pop culture or like even in other shows? Does it get name dropped sometimes? And I think you have worked on, just in the 4 projects I named, Euphoria, The Idol, or The Idol?
The Idol.
The Idol. And I've watched the whole show, so I should know the name. But The Idol, Malcolm and Marie, and Dune, like those 4 shows all dabble in those 3 different types of value, right? Like prestige, numbers, and cultural impact.
They're so different.
They're extremely different.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, I'm a watcher, like I'm an audience. I love one of those shows. I don't love one of those shows.
Oh, I can guess what those are.
Yeah, I mean, I fucking love Euphoria. Did not love The Idol, to say the least. Is that okay to say?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
You know what my thing is too?
Please.
Like, I don't think people, maybe this is just me, but I love when people tell me they don't like stuff. Because I feel like in Hollywood, it's always like, oh yeah, like, oh yeah. Like, I love, that's sometimes when I know like people are kind of being more honest with me, like about things like, yeah, it's great when people love your content, but I love that it starts a conversation. Oh, you don't like it? Tell me how much you hated it. What did you hate about it? Well, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, those are the things I liked, because it's still a dialogue, you know?
You want me to tell you what I hate about it?
Yeah, tell me what you hate about it, please.
Okay. Well, let me start by saying what I love about Euphoria, because I think the contrast is important, because y'all are a camp and you made both, right? And
under 2 completely different circumstances, but yes.
Under 2 completely different, and the context matters, and we'll get into it. And like, for what it's worth, like, I am not a part of a camp. I am just not. But I stepped into a camp to be a part of rap shit, which, you know, I know is just to call it what it is, like, it's the redhead stepchild of Insecure. Like, it's the lesser favored of the 2. It's not like, I mean, I'm not saying, I'm certainly not saying it's bad. Like, I'm just saying,
I love
Insecure, Insecure is it's a different beast. Like, it's an empire. You know what I mean? And rap shit is the baby still.
Yeah.
So, Euphoria, especially the first season, I love pretty much everything about it. I mean, I love the way that the stories are told. I love the backstories for the characters. I love what it looks like, the glow of the screen, like I don't know what has been done in color correction and all that other stuff, but just the way that it kind of feels like a trippy, like, mushroom dream. Like, I love all that shit. Idol, I think, is visually stunning. I think that the writing is really clunky. Like, it's really, like, really it's not really difficult to follow. It just feels like I know too much, I think, even about how it got made, so I can see how it's rushed. You know what I mean? And The Weeknd's acting is so bad that this is fucked up, but it's affecting my experience with his music right now. And I love The Weeknd's music. Like, you're making a face right now, by the way.
Am I? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, be real. Like, what is the face you're making?
Is it bad or is it intentional bad? Like, what is the
His
goal?
acting?
Like, what do you? Yeah.
Do you think it's intentional
I'm
bad?
just asking questions. I'm just spewing stuff out.
All right. Well, he doesn't. I think the character is supposed to be like this sort of brooding, kind of scary, manipulative, but then there's like I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but like whatever, manipulative. This like seedy character who's also I think supposed to be like a little bit sexy in his way. I think he's supposed to be like, but honestly the performance is so bad. I don't know. And look, I don't know The Weeknd, and if I did, I probably, even just being real, I would probably talk about it a little bit differently. I'd be a little nicer about it. But I'm just like, the character Tedros, I feel like I know what he's supposed to be. Like, I feel like he would be better played by like,
who would
like,
you?
this is gonna sound kind of left field, but like Trevante Rhodes, like someone who has a real edge about them. I think so. I don't know, but I mean, but then he couldn't probably do the rat tail because this thing had the like slick back rat tail. I don't know, but are you suggesting that it was intentionally bad, his acting?
So I can only tell you how I interpreted the Tedros character.
Please.
I interpreted him as like seedy, but like cheesy and gross. And like, how can you take somebody like this seriously? That was how like I interpreted the Tedros character. Like, he was gross in a way where he was just like, ugh. And which made like his relationship with like Joss like so stupid. Which everyone else was like, this shit is so stupid. This nigga has a rat tail. Like, I'm not taking him serious.
And so is that an error of writing?
I can't speak to what the intentions kind of are to that. Like, I truly, like, I don't know. Because, like, you know, The Idol had its 2 rounds of production. They did their first round of production while we were still working on season 2 of Euphoria.
Right.
And then they basically did an entirely different round of production once we wrapped Euphoria, once, you know, our showrunner became available. So, I don't know.
Sam.
Yeah, when Sam became available. Right. So, like, I don't know what those conversations were, but, you know, maybe they kind of went into it like maybe there's a shift in, like, how we want to present Tedros, or, you know. But that's all I'm going off of, how I read him on paper and how his performance came across to me.
Okay.
And also, like, I'm thinking about how the other characters responded to the Tedros character, you know, which is supposed to give us some indication of like what we expect the audience, how we expect the audience to respond, which everyone else is like, this motherfucker is a joke.
Yeah.
Like, this nigga's not real.
Yeah.
Like, he's cheesy, but like he has like these creepy moments, and it's only Joss who like falls for the bullshit, besides like these creepy people in his like team who you're like, these motherfuckers are all weird. You know? So yeah. I don't know. I feel, in my personal opinion, it seemed very, like, intentional to me to make him that way, because I just don't... I don't think there's a way to create, like, the perfect Tedros character without, like... I don't know if there's, like, the Tedros with the Trevante Rhodes character. Because then it would be a completely different show in a way, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, yeah, if he was too believable, like...
Or not even believable, but, like, the Trevante Rhodes is, like, too edge.
Yeah, if he was too real, then that would fuck up the dynamic. It would fuck up the balance, and we would be like, I can see why she's being manipulated by this person. So
Yeah, exactly.
Let me zoom out of it altogether. Like... First of all, I have to ask the question that's the question, and I know there's a chance that you might just not answer it. Which is fine.
There's a chance. You're gonna.
Do you like the show?
Do I like the show?
Yeah.
I enjoy the show. Yes, I enjoy working on. I think it's also different, you know. it's a completely different experience when you work on a project, in my opinion.
For sure.
Because people are like, do you like love Euphoria? Yes, I love creating Euphoria, but you'll never catch me watching an episode.
Really?
You will never catch me watching
Why?
an episode of Euphoria. See, this is how I know people don't know, like, what editors, like, we watch listen, Josh is laughing because he knows. You watch this shit, like, 30 times.
Okay, you just can't stomach to watch.
And then you get nervous,
Yeah.
like, when it starts to air, because you're like, oh, shit, I hope everything went fine and mixed and with deliver. Like, you know, like, I hope all of these things hit, like, landed,
Right.
there's no like, it is a completely different experience. So, like, I enjoyed making the show, and I'm going to tell you why I enjoyed making The Idol. It was one of the hardest things I've ever worked on, like, in my life, like, footage-wise, like, whatever, but the leader of our team, Julio Perez, he's, like, amazing. He's the supervising editor, but he's also a producer, like, on Euphoria and on The Idol, and he is just, like, I don't know, he's like the master, like, editor, and so we did things really differently with The Idol, you know. We didn't necessarily have, like, scripts, like, structured in a certain way, and we would get these scenes, and usually an editor is assigned, like, an episode. You know, in this case, it was kind of like all hands on deck, like, across the board.
Right.
So, you know, Kristin might be, like, cutting an episode and, you know, cutting a scene in episode 3 today, but then I'm going to hop over to episode 2 today, or 4 or 5 today, and that's really what it was, like, a lot of that, like, coming together. And so it really was important to the process that you were following all the footage that was coming in every time, because we do block shooting, which, for people who aren't familiar, block shooting.
Like me.
Oh, wait. What?
You know I'm, like, half in this shit.
I know. You're like...
I got a foot in 100 different things. I don't know what that is.
Okay, so usually, like, especially in network television, you shoot an episode, like, consecutively, chronologically, in the way that, like, you know, it's written script-wise. So, like, you know, you shoot all of episode 1, you shoot all of episode 2, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Well, when you're doing block shooting, you're just shooting scenes across all the fucking episodes. So, like, today, we might have footage that, you know, is from episode 1, and it's scene 12. And we're also getting footage from episode 3, scene 4. You know, scene, 12 from episode 5. You're literally just getting a collection of scenes across all the episodes. So, you know, like, it is so important when you're doing things like that you're actually, like, following scripts, you're following, like, what scenes are coming in, and just people's storylines, you know?
Right.
And as an editor, like, yeah, like, the scripts, they are, like, the foundation to everything, but everything gets reconstructed. And The Idol was, like, the ultimate kind of, like, reconstruction for me, which was, like, the perfect, like, learning ground, you know? Like, it's the best editors probably, like, in the business were, like, working on that show, because it takes so much to craft, like, story and follow storylines and build these characters in these worlds consistently, you know, across the episodes.
Right.
And yeah, it was definitely, like, a ton of work. So, like, to see it on screen, to get it out, it was very, like, rewarding.
And have you watched The Idol?
I don't watch anything.
So you don't watch. I get it though.
I watch. Like, we watch the final episodes because we craft them, like, at work.
Of course.
So they'll be like, okay, the final is going out. So I'll be like, let me just watch it.
I get it.
I'm not. I did, like, one when I got my first editor credit on Euphoria or whatever. I think, yeah, it was either my first editor or my first assistant editor credit, and I, like, did a little screening at my house.
Right.
But outside of that, like, I just don't watch things that I, like, work on unless I want to support, like, my boss, like, on a feature. Like, when Dune came out, I went to see that because, like, my boss was going to be on a panel, you know, and that was really special. But, like, some of that stuff is, like, it's a little, like, nerve-wracking, like, sometimes, and my anxiety is way too high to be sitting in
I relate to
spaces
that.
with people.
I can't, I've never listened to an episode of a podcast that I put out. I have not read my book. I have not. I can't.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to also not see everything that I think is imperfect in something that I've put out. Like,
exactly.
It's a squeamish experience. Okay.
Yes.
So, like, Euphoria was so, you know, I'm not how am I trying to say this? Like, I'm trying to tell, like, an honest story in exploring this thing, because I know the feeling of putting out something that I'm not even gonna say just that it's dope, that people think is dope, and putting out something that people think is ass. Like, I know that feeling. And people are criticizing the idol extremely
Yeah, it's getting
intensely
so
right
much
now.
hate.
It's getting a
So much
ton
hate.
of fucking hate
I
right
was in
now.
Urban Outfitters the other day and I heard the people like over talking, but I think they were saying something positive, but I was just like, this is way too much for me. Like, this is like, I can't like escape like these type of things, which I'm trying to think, like, I don't recall hearing like Euphoria even. It was like
Right.
people are being way more vocal about like their hate
Oh yeah.
than like their love of
when
anything.
people say they love something, I feel like love is a more, it's like a more internalized emotion. It's a more comfortable emotion. I feel like people feel less excited to express it. I think hate gives people more to chew on in a conversation.
Yeah.
Like, it's so much easier for people to talk about how shitty something is than it
Yeah.
is for them to, because honestly, as audience members, most people don't even know why it's good or bad.
Exactly.
So it's easy for them to just be like, oh, the Weeknd's acting is so bad, which is what I just did.
Yeah.
But I also just want to say, I still like admire the Weeknd for getting up there and trying to do the thing. Like, that's a risk for him that he didn't have to take, but it was in his heart, so he did it, you know? So
that's very like, you know, able-y, I guess, you know, like I didn't get to like meet him personally, but I will say that like the experiences that like I've heard about him having, and like he also did something very generous for like everybody, where he like one day we came in and like he just had like $500 cash like for all of us.
Oh wow.
Independently. So it was just like, oh, like Abel left something. It was like, what? And so like stuff like that, like especially when it comes to post, because we're not on set.
Right.
We don't get to like establish a lot of like relationships with people on set. But like when you and it's not even just about the money, it's like the thought. You know, it's like, wow, like we came even across like your mind. Because like he did it for people on set too, but like to even think about posts, like we're not on set on the ground in the trenches with you guys every day, but that's because like we're in these other trenches with, which are like so insane and so intense in their own like way.
And that
was
does,
special.
I feel like that does make me, oh, I spilled coffee on my sock. That makes me love him as, that to me speaks to like a producerial veteran, like somebody who makes a lot of stuff, who makes it at a high level of quality, and who's been doing it for almost 2 decades, understands that every single person involved, like if they're not all the way putting their juice in, then they're taking something out of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's fire. All right.
You know his house was,
I know.
That's about to say, like that's his whole house. Like
he
come
gave
on.
it up.
He literally gave like his all to like the project. He was
did.
very,
and
he's such an artist like thing to do. I think that he's like the ultimate artist in my opinion.
I love him.
He is. You can't say that he's not like the ultimate like artist.
He is. When I found out he was gonna be in a show, I thought to myself, in that exact moment, there's a 0% chance that I will not watch every episode of this show. No matter how good or bad it is,
right.
Because he's him. And and this is gonna dovetail well because we must talk about the streets, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, always. God, I talk about the streets every day.
And okay, perfect. Then you are right on time, because he soundtracked the most important part of, I think, my transition from college dating to, as you know what I'm saying, I'm 35 years old. It's the case for all of us probably on some level. Like he gave us that
House
moody,
of Balloons,
dark,
come on,
depressed, fucking
when
weird,
that dropped, I
shit.
just felt like it was such a shift, and I was like, who the fuck is this?
Right.
And like,
and how's he in my head?
Yes, nonstop. Man.
So
yeah, that was DC for me. That was like heavy Weekend, House of Balloons. Yeah, I was in DC for that time.
I think we're about to move to DC. I know.
What?
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
Studio in DC.
I am shocked.
It's a risky play.
Yeah, I mean,
but
I get it in a way, sort of.
Right. Why I'm doing it like this. So the main product, I'm only explaining this because you're nerdy and I feel like you'll connect to it.
Yes.
The main product is the podcast. Like that's the like, after this, you know, we've recorded and it's edited and all that and it comes out, boom. But I feel like this part, I don't know, I would feel interested to watch this part for somebody that I follow who does this job, like, and that is not super available as content in my perspective. So I'm kind of into it.
Also, like, it's fun.
It is really fun. Yeah, it's really
fun. I think in entertainment in particular, people forget like the fun. Like this shit is supposed to be fun.
Right. And it is fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. Do you know what's so crazy? On the drive in here now, I start getting sad about when the show's over.
Yeah, that's
You know
when
what
you
I'm
know.
saying?
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like,
when you
fuck.
know, man. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, someone had asked me like the other day, one of my friends, she transitioned from being like a freelance editor to being like a studio exec. And she was like, no, I
Oh.
want a better quality of life. And that's like a completely different quality of life, you know?
That's the worst quality of life.
No, you like working 9 to 5. Like, you know, us, you know, freelancers,
Yeah.
you don't know what your life about to be like. You never know when you're getting off every day.
I like that.
Oh, I know, I do too. And I was like, I get it. You want a better quality of life. You know, she's about to get married, like whatever. She's prioritized all these things. And I was like, yo, I said, I think I'm gonna die in the chair, which is like what people's editors say. Like we're gonna probably like die and we're never probably gonna retire. And I think about that a lot. Like I love my work like so much. Even though like some days I'm like, I don't know if I ever want to do this. But then I think about it, if I was to ever watch anything, I
Right.
would probably cry. Cause like I love my work so much. I'd be so sad to like not be involved in like creating something.
I don't think you ever will be, because I just feel
Yeah.
like you are. Your connection to it just feels too real. Actually, I've come and seen you do your job.
Have
Remember
you?
that? Remember I came and visited you?
Oh, when I was on Ali, I think, right?
Yeah.
Was that a Sony?
You were in an editing bay
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah, it was at Sony, yeah. That was when
we
we
at
were
McDonald's.
exes.
Yeah, that was when. I mean, we can. So we
I
try
just
to come
watched
around
it.
to
I
all that.
watched
Oh
it.
my god, it's probably. I mean, it's. I don't even have to say it. You know, I showed Spike Lee that, and he was like,
the fact that you
"Yo,
showed him that is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, but I can't help myself. Like, I'm sorry, I can't help
So
myself.
bad.
It was real bad.
Dom was a star, though. I will say, Dom
Dom
like
popped.
Dom popped. She popped.
Dom popped. I mean, I thought everyone could do their job except me. Like, I didn't know how to direct. So
What? Oh, well, I mean,
everybody could do their job but me. Like,
I was such not, and I watched that, and even cutting that was like so painful. I don't think I've had a more painful experience.
so this
That's
was
terrible.
I don't want to do my the producer Morgan, she says like make sure if y'all start going into your bag about stuff that's you have a shorthand, like make sure you explain it to the audience. So
Oh, yeah, okay.
years ago, right? 2017, 2016, thereabouts. I had just met Spike Lee. He gave me an office in 40 acres. And I was just like, I need to just start making stuff. Because I need to be able to like, thank you, Josh.
So much.
I need to be able to like put stuff. I have access now. So I need to just start making shit, whatever. So wrote like a TV pilot. Literally spent like 2 days writing it. Got
hilarious.
with my friend Kyle Mosley, who we both know from college, or I've known him for my whole life. We know from college, and we spent like $1,000 making this thing. Called Kristin. I was like, "Hey, will you play the lead in this thing?" Called other people. Dom was in it. Marcus Turner was in it. Just called friends and was like, "Will y'all come to New York for 2 days to shoot this thing?" Shot the whole pilot in 2 days.
Yeah.
Kristin cut it. And it was real bad.
It was real bad.
It's real bad.
It's real bad.
I
It's
think
really
I'll
bad.
probably put the Nothing But Anarchy logo on it one day and just put it out. Just for funsies. Like
I watched that and I watched, because we had created a teaser for it.
I mean, yeah. Okay, it was real bad.
Okay, it was bad. It was terrible.
So let's talk about the streets, if that's okay.
Let's talk about the streets. That's going to be the whole show. Shit.
Why don't you give us a lead in? Well, I mean, because it sounds like you have every time I say the streets, there's a point of view. So please, what's the point of view? There's so much to say. We're going to get into it, but where do you want to start?
I don't even know where to start, to be honest. I mean, what are we just talking about, like dating?
I know,
and the relationships, like
absolutely
what the nature of relationships these days. I mean, where are we going?
So why don't we start here? I was in the streets from the age of 16 until 20, until 30, 31.
Mm-hmm.
Thereabouts. That was a good run. Over a decade.
So you never had a girlfriend between 16?
No, I did.
Okay.
I did, but
yeah.
I mean,
yeah, okay.
I was still in the streets. Like we both were. We all were. You know what I mean? On some level.
I feel like I haven't been in the streets enough in my life. Like you talking about like dating streets. Like I haven't dated enough in my life. That's real. That makes I should have dated more.
Why did
I
you?
should be dating more.
Why are
In my
you?
20s, I should have been dating like crazy.
And why weren't you?
I don't know. I've been so focused on this dream. It's crazy how much it consumes you, you know, like you don't prioritize much. You know, I had my relationship of like 6 years, like, you know, on and off with the New Yorker. When I moved to Cali, yeah. But I just nothing has taken much of a priority in my life besides this thing.
And the thing is, I mean, it seems like you've done the thing. Like what's the thing?
I'm not there yet. I'm not there. I will be there when Kristin is like producing and editing like her own stuff, when I win my first Oscar and my first Emmy. You know, those are like real dreams. And like when I start opening doors for people, you know, there is still a ceiling in Hollywood very much on race and sex and stuff. And I'm really trying to break that. And it's really important to me that I get to certain heights so I can start pulling people up. Like that is my number one priority. Well, besides creating things that I just love with people I love.
Okay, so you were focused on work.
All that.
But I know guys like you. They always have liked you. I know guys ask you out.
And you know what? I was just having this conversation with my friend yesterday because she was like, yeah, such and such has always said like you're the most. And I was like, I had never heard anything from this person like ever in my life, you know. But it's funny because like I don't, you know, especially LA culture, like men don't really approach women, especially, and I don't want to go down this road.
Why not? Why? I mean, is there any better place to do it?
God.
Sip your coffee and let's get right to it. Anytime somebody says that, I know where they're going. So let's go.
You know where I'm going with this.
I mean,
it's a different dating culture for black women in LA. It's a completely different dating culture.
Let's unzip the whole package.
God.
Tell me what come on, man. What does that mean? Unpack. Please.
For Los Angeles?
I don't live in Los Angeles.
Stop it. You know. Why are you trying to be stupid right now?
I mean,
you get engaged and you just start getting amnesia. Come on now. Don't do that.
It's an audio medium. Like, talk to me about it. Like, tell the people. Yes, we all know what we're talking about, right? It is it's a difficult dating climate in this country, and then especially like in certain cities.
Yes.
For black women.
Yes.
Absolutely. LA seems to be especially so.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that the case? Like, what? I really don't know exactly why that's the case. I think it's the culture around like stardom and flashiness, and there's like a cultural, what's the word? There's like a cultural cachet among having like this like pseudo ethnic Kardashian-esque Persian woman on your hip kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you've been living there long enough to watch our real friends and real people that we know evolve into adults. So you have seen some of them become that thing, that stereotype firsthand.
Yeah.
Will you please let us in on what you see?
God. I mean, I don't know. Listen, this is one woman. You got to say that for the internet nowadays. This is one woman's perspective. Probably speaking for a collective of black women, mostly my friends who I have this conversation with pretty frequently. But it's a bit tough. I feel like black women are really interested, particularly in dating like black men, right? Mm-hmm. But a lot of the black men that I see that come to Los Angeles, they are usually set on dating like different people. So like I've had my entire life to date like black women. I think I want to try like other races, other ethnicities, and like do, you know, all of that kind of thing.
Right.
Just to be out there, just to do it, and to get, like you said, the Kardashian-esque, I don't know, date or whatever. And so because of that, there's just so many bad bitches in LA of all ethnicity. But like for real, it's a lot of bad bitches. It's a lot of bad bitches. And you know, like, it's not even just like they're bad, like this bitch got like body and, you know, face and all of that. But like they're doing shit.
Mm-hmm.
like these are like making moves. Like it's not like they're bad and they're just sitting on the couch every day doing their makeup or whatever. But you know, you talk about IG models or like influencers, but you talking about like level 12, you know. I went to one party the other day and I was like, dang, like that girl's like real pretty or whatever. My friend was like, yeah, she's a Instagram influencer, whatever. And then he showed me her page. I said, oh shit, like she's like really somebody. Like this is And I said, all right, bet this is the city that like, you know, I'm in or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I think that when it's like that, especially like on a superficial level, like how LA can be, it gets really hard. And I get it as a man. Like it would be really hard to like date beyond some of the superficialness, especially like because our biological clocks are so different once we get like past 30. Like women are trying to settle it down, like whatever else. And men like 35 is like for a man is like prime. I tell people all the time, man, my only dream in life is to wake up a black man in LA. Cause if that happened, shit, y'all ain't gonna be able to tell me nothing. I will be the streets, man. So I get it, but it's really frustrating when like you just want to meet somebody that like you connect with and you don't want it, you want it to be like beyond all that superficial shit. It's really tough. It's really tough to just find someone in general in life, but in LA, because we're all so hyper focused on image or our brand or just success in general, it's really hard to find someone that wants to like build with you and is on kind of the same wavelength that you connect to, like emotionally, physically, spiritually, all of that.
Have you seen it work in LA?
Where, like between black people?
Yeah. This woman's lived in LA for 11 years, y'all.
Yeah. Tough. I mean, yeah. Sort of, like, you know, but but also, like, you don't know the inner workings of people's relationships.
For sure.
So you, like, I can tell you, like, what it seems like to me from the outside. But, like, I also think that what I want, and this is another reason why, like, I know, like, I'm single, even though my brother wants to always give me some type of spiel on what men, whatever. I know, like, what I want is something really different, you know? And I will say that, like, I haven't seen that, like, anywhere. I haven't seen that in anybody's like relationship. Well, I don't know. I love Leon and Kristin's relationship so much, like up close. I really do. Like truly, like that's an amazing relationship.
Shout out my experience being around Los Angeles dating culture. I used to be around LA a lot more before the pandemic, and that kind of like changed my travel schedule more than anything. And I feel like there's such a rush by everyone to get in, like you said, access. There's such a bum rush to get through small doors. And now I'm just gonna say some shit. Like, I think, niggas gonna be mad. I think a lot of black men do not feel confident that they have the what's the word? Like
credentials
or temerity. I don't really know what that word means, but I think it's the right word. Temerity. I don't think they believe enough in the solidity of their own access to be able to bring along another black person with them.
Okay.
Which is not an excuse. I think it's kind of sad.
I mean, it is sad, but I could see that in Los Angeles for sure.
In Los Angeles specifically, there's such a bum rush to be in the inner circle, and it's like these white girls get to just walk in there, and like I see guys. I don't know. I
be the most. You know what? I'm not gonna.
I really like niggas from LA. I really like.
No,
guys
I do
from
too.
LA.
Me too. Yeah.
I don't mean
Let's
them.
not. Yeah. So let me clarify because
I know what you mean.
LA natives begin like real different. No, it's not. No, it really is not the LA natives.
No, I love them.
Of course,
it's the transplants because they came there to live out their Hollywood dream, which looks like Entourage.
Yes.
Which looks like having a Kardashian next to you while you try to fight your way to be the guy next to the guy so that you can eventually supplant him as the guy.
Yes.
And,
But I get it. There's so much that like feeds that culture too, because trust me, there are, a lot of women are out there trying to feed on that, and
Absolutely.
I get it. Like I get it. Everybody has got their own mission and their own goals. But when it comes to like being like a real bitch, or like you just down to earth, no, for real, like you're just down to earth, like you just want to have a good time, you want to meet somebody, like have great conversation, like that is just so hard to come by.
Yeah.
It's really hard to come by, no matter what you look like in LA. I will say that. I mean, because, I think that it's more so like women of color, like it's still like it sucks for us, whatever. But I do feel like, other women, like they struggle as well in the city. But it's like times 10 for women of color, I feel like.
We're gonna do a street adjacent little exercise here. It's not really totally street adjacent, but there's a couple things that have happened here lately that I would like to explore.
What has happened in the streets? Keke, you gonna bring that up?
Yeah, that's right here on my list.
Yeah, I figured.
We'll come back to Britney Spears getting slapped.
Yeah, I just read that like coming in here.
Would you like to start there?
I mean, I don't even know the details, to tell you the truth. I was just
I mean, I know as reported by TMZ, who used a very salacious headline to get people to click it, which basically they tried to make it sound like Victor Wembanyama slapped Britney Spears, which
backhanded. Not said backhanded. That's a whole nother level of disrespect when it's backhanded.
Right. So as reported by TMZ, a security detail member of the San Antonio Spurs, which is the employment of Victor Wembanyama, that individual backhand slapped Britney Spears, who was approaching Victor Wembanyama to give him, I think, to get an autograph or give him a hug or something.
It said a picture.
Something completely
innocent,
common. Yeah, exactly. And I was actually trying to think on the list of like 100 craziest things that have happened to Britney Spears. I wonder where this ranks. On the list. Like, is it even top 10? I don't know.
I'm like, what? When I read it, I was like, am I reading this? It took me a minute to even digest what I was reading.
Yeah, the headline, it feels like the algorithm made it up. I was like, is this presented by like fucking Meta World Threads or something? But
AI.
So, okay, like sort of there's like a domestic violence box that this could be placed in, that I don't really know how to talk about it with that thing as regarding security, other than I just think security guards are so excited to like beat people up all the time. Can they just relax?
Can you just chill, bro?
Yeah.
It's not that serious.
It's a 5 foot tall woman.
It's never that Again, where did this happen?
It's happened in Las Vegas.
Okay.
And to that point, I was going to say, so the NFL recently expanded to Las Vegas 2 years ago. They brought the Oakland Raiders to Las Vegas. Within a year of that, the number 7 overall pick for the Las Vegas Raiders. Do you already know this?
No, I don't know.
Do you know this, Josh? You probably know this. Henry Ruggs. Are you an NFL fan?
I know nothing.
Okay. Are you an NBA fan?
I know nothing.
Amazing.
But I do love going to sporting events.
Great.
Drinking a beer and watching. I don't know that.
That's perfect. Stuff. Then I can get my shit off right here. Yeah. So I'm telling you something you don't know.
Yeah.
Great. Because I felt myself in a splaining voice, and
please explain. I like learning.
The Las Vegas Raiders drafted a guy named Henry Ruggs. He was a wide receiver out of Alabama, lightning fast, not a big person, probably my size or smaller. And he's super fast, good football player. Within a year of him being on the Las Vegas Raiders, he was drunk driving at like 135 miles per hour, maybe faster than that, maybe 150. Crashed into a woman's car. Car goes up in flames. She's dead. This guy is in prison right now, and like had to leave the team. He's in prison. He's no career. He'll have no career. May or may not even have his freedom within the next 20 years. Like really bad. Within a year of the Las Vegas Raiders moving to Las Vegas. Now, we have the NBA Summer League taking place in Las Vegas. Yeah. And the rumor is that when LeBron James retires and wants to become an NBA owner, that he will be able to buy an expansion franchise in Las Vegas. And the question in my mind is like, you are going to take 12 tall, good-looking, wealthy, young black men and move them to Las Vegas. Why?
God.
Yeah. And that's what I really started to think of when I saw this Britney Spears, Victor Wembanyama thing.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it. That was the story.
That was the story. That's it.
That's the story.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I just
Okay.
feel like it's a bad play.
It's
I mean,
a recipe for disaster.
for disaster, I would
Yeah.
say. For a lot of
Vegas is. You know, I'm headed to Vegas right when I leave New York.
oh wow.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Go see Usher.
No,
you
probably
gonna
not. You know, shit. Get into some shit.
Who are you going with? What's
I go
the
to
vibe?
Vegas
Like,
so much. I'm meeting up with Beth. Shout out Beth. And Shauna. Kristin. You know, anyway. We gonna do what we do. Me and Beth went to Vegas 5 times. Was it last year or the year before? 5 times.
What do you like about Vegas? What do you do in Vegas? Do you gamble?
No, I hate gambling. As a mathematician, it's the stupidest shit ever. It makes me so mad.
You just go out.
Yes, I party. I told you, like, I love. And the thing with me is, once I find a spot like I like, I don't care about how many times I go there. I'll go to the same spot like every night if it got the music I like.
I'm the same way.
Especially after being in LA for so long, where you can't find like the shit I'm trying to hear
Facts.
without going to the dime
Yeah.
all the time. I don't, and you know, whatever. But Vegas, you know, I go to Dre's. Like, I go to the day party. I go to the night party. I will.
I don't
After
even know what that
hours.
is. I've been to Vegas one time and it was this year.
What?
Yeah. March was my first time going to
Sir,
Vegas.
oh my God.
I know.
I'm like, I took one of my coworkers to Vegas, like, because she had been before. And she was like, yeah, but I didn't have that much fun. I was like, listen, I'm going down this weekend. Just roll with me. I'll show you a good-ass time.
You do like a good party.
I love a good party.
But you don't go crazy in a party spot. You're very chill in a
You think so? That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
I think you have a good time.
Yeah.
But I don't think, I mean, like, you know.
You won't see me doing no, like, fucker. Like,
No
you're not
dumb
going,
shit.
yeah,
No.
no dumb shit, yeah.
Never ever that. I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
Maybe. I can't remember. I can't
I
remember.
don't know, probably fun factory day. What was it?
Yeah, in the Fun Factory. In Leon
College
and
days.
Jason's house in college.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next one. I don't really have anything to say about Victor.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. That's a very unfortunate.
Keke Palmer's. Oh, when we do these things, we play a game called Alien Robot Human. Are you familiar?
No.
Okay. Stole this game from somebody else. Who stole it from somebody else?
Okay.
The foundational theory is that people can be bracketed as either aliens, robots, humans, or combinations of 2 of those 3 things.
Okay.
Or some. You know what? I was thinking about it this morning. I was thinking about, what is Kristin? Is she alien, robot, human?
Oh,
is
I
she
know.
Alien, robot. Well,
Ooh, I'm probably a combo.
I think you're the first person that is a combo of all 3. What do you think you are?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean,
you
I
are?
was gonna say alien and robot for sure, but
For
I just,
sure.
yeah, definitely. But I think that's because like that's the mathematician meets like the artist part.
Yeah.
You know, but I still, yeah, there's a very like foundational like humane. I don't know.
Yeah.
Qualities about myself still. You know, like I'm not disconnected emotionally or whatever.
No.
Yeah.
You're pretty friendly. Does anybody think you're an asshole? Do you think there's someone out there who's like, Kristin is a huge asshole?
What? Yes, probably because I'm so direct. Like I'm pretty much. You never have to wonder what I'm thinking or feeling. How many times have you told me already your face? Like you know, like for real. But people get offended because I'm very direct. Like I once had a conversation with somebody where I told them, I said, we don't have to be friends actually. I don't have friends like you. I'm good.
Why? Was this a man or a woman?
It was a woman.
Why did you say that to her?
Because she didn't need to be my friend. There was no reason for us to be friends. What? It's the truth. Like I'm good.
Oh,
I'm
tell me
good,
more.
dog.
Can you set
I'm
the stage a little
good, dog.
bit?
No, I'm good.
That's
I don't
it?
have
That's all
friends
you got
like
for
that.
me?
That's all I got.
Do I know her?
No, you wouldn't know her.
What do you mean I wouldn't know her?
You don't know her. I'm not going down this road with you, Chadwick. I'm not doing it. But I did flat out tell somebody that for real. Like, because you're not going to get no fuck shit from me, number one. Like, if I don't fuck with you, like, I don't fuck with you and you'll know it. I don't want anyone to ever guess how I'm feeling or, like, wondering, like, what it is. And anything, like, mean or whatever that I've said about somebody, I try to make sure that they've heard it from me already. It ain't going to be no, oh, Kristin said this about you. Nah, nigga, I already said it to her. I already said it to her. It's already been done.
Affirmative. I do not believe that you harbor any unknown feelings of negativity toward me.
No.
I know that.
Yeah.
I believe it because you keep yourself pure. You relieve yourself of those feelings. You know.
Nothing worse than harboring some feelings.
You
I'm not
wouldn't
doing
know
it.
her is some wild shit to say. You wouldn't know her.
You don't. No, you don't. You don't.
All right. Well said, Kristin. Man, I really want to stay there because I just feel like there's something there, but you're not gonna give it to me, huh? You're not
What's
gonna...
there to give? I mean, to be honest, like, you know, who you surround yourself with. Like, I'm very particular about stuff like that.
Yes.
I was having a conversation with my friends yesterday because, you know, some women, they'll be like, oh, I have like 10 best friends or whatever. For me, like, you won't see that. Like, I am so committed to like somebody, like, it's too much for me to like have like 12 best friends or whatever. Like, so like the friends that I have, like, we have deep conversations. Like, we have deep conversations. My friends are like truly my friends. They can depend on me. You call me, I'll come across country. You know what I'm saying? You call me in the middle of the night, I'm going to answer. I put a lot into those relationships. So, like, to have someone who's, like, fuckery or, like, half-ass, I don't have the energy. And I know me, like, I'll give too much and I'll be hurt and disappointed and crushed. And not to say that, like, people haven't slipped through the cracks, but, like, I try to be very mindful of that. My peace is way more important to me.
Was that intentional for, like, were you like that when you were 20? Did you know that?
I was not like that. I'm still, and I have to find ways to kind of reel that in. But like in the professional setting, you know, people will be like, everybody knows Kristin. Kristin's friends with everybody. Yeah, because like on the professional setting, it's really easy for me to do those very like superficial like relationships because I really do care about everybody. I believe that everyone has potential. Like I want to help people as much as I can. Like I will overextend myself for damn near strangers because like I truly believe that everyone should have access to like greater opportunities and everyone has the potential to be whatever they want to be, you know? That is truly my belief, and I try to move that way and support people that way. But I have had people tell me like, Kristin, like you're way too friendly. Like you trust, like my mentors have been like, Kristin, you trust people like way too much in this business. And I've had my feelings hurt. People have done real fuckery shit to me along the way, like under the rug type shit. And I think being like a Midwestern and just like not, I'm so clueless or even like naive to a lot of shit where I don't think people would do half of the shit that like they've done. You know?
You don't feel very cynical.
It's funny, you know, the last like probably year and a half to 2 years of my life, the business is starting to fuck with me a little where I feel myself becoming a little bit.
How so? How's it fucking with you?
I don't know. Again, like I'm very naive. I'm such a perfectionist. I was valedictorian of my high school. I'm an overachiever. Like I do, you know, I'm involved in 10 million things. And I've always had the mindset, which, you know, I know it sounds really stupid or not stupid, but just naive, where if you work hard, you're a good person, like you just help people, then things will work out like in your favor. You know, like if you work hard, people will see you and they'll, you know what, like you'll find your way or whatever. You'll find your way. And in this business, particularly Hollywood, a lot of that shit does not matter.
Right.
Like talent is not the most important like thing.
Hell no.
Being a good person is not the most important thing.
Hell no.
You know what I'm saying? So like I was having this conversation with another one of my friends last week and she was just like, yo, I just think like this business, it doesn't really serve us in the best way sometimes to be, you know, so helpful, so kind, so like overextend, you know, I don't know, just like welcoming and all of this stuff. And I was like, damn, like, and I think that's what the last 2 years have kind of taught me, which has been like heartbreaking for me, particularly the last month where it's like, man, I could put in all this effort, all this work, want to be the best, like be the first one in, the last one out, and it still won't mean shit. And that's not why I do it. I do it because I love it. But, it, you know, like, you do feel like, man, if I put in hard work, like, things will find me. And sometimes it doesn't work out that way.
Hell no. I do think that, I don't know if hard work is the right term, but I do think there's a certain volume of work that eventually does start to snowball and break things down. I don't know if hard work gets you there.
Yeah.
It just, and this is me, I'm, you know, I feel like we're kind of...
So you're more quantity versus quality.
I mean, I think you have to build up a critical mass of quality work. But I
Yes.
think it can take a lot of shitty work to get
Yes.
to that
Yes.
critical mass. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes.
Like,
Absolutely.
you gotta like, I had to make X's and fucking show it to Spike Lee, who told me in the nicest way that he
Yeah.
is capable of. He was like, your writing is good, your direction needs work. That was his
Yeah.
feedback.
Yeah.
Then I had to do that to make the short that I made a few years ago, which is like fine. It's like cool. Like, for me to, you know, in a couple more years, I'll make something else.
Yeah.
I'll direct something, and I think it'll probably, hopefully, be good because
Yeah.
I like did some shitty stuff first. Same time, the first time I did this, like, I wasn't very good at it, but it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, no, what I really wanted to say was, what did I really want to say? Oh, I think it's Morgan's the producer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Young black woman in her 20s.
Mm-hmm. She's fire, by the way.
She is fire.
Yeah, she's fire.
She goes crazy.
I was like, oh, she is on it. Like, let me get my shit together real quick. I'm thinking I'm about to just have a coffee with my friend real quick. Let me get a little.
No, she's
together.
She's a first round. She's a number one draft pick.
Go Morgan.
She blacks out every single day. She's always working.
Yeah.
Like, she's on LA time. I text her as soon as I wake up.
Yeah.
I'm texting her till 11 o'clock at night about work shit, and she's always working. She's phenomenal. She gets along with people. Whatever. Morgan, you're fine. She's awesome.
Yeah.
And I feel like the number one point of feedback that I am often giving her is like, now you have to be an asshole about this thing. Now you have to think like an asshole about this thing because this person is probably trying to get one over on you. So like, be an asshole. But it's difficult managing being an asshole about your business because you can't be an asshole about your work. Like, you gotta stay like you gotta be a baby. You gotta be a child about like the play part. And I just feel like that dichotomy is maddening. It like it just starts to like tear you in two different directions.
Yes,
that's
it
what
does.
I have found.
This is the value of, for creatives, an agent.
Yeah. Do you work with an agency?
No, because like assistant editors, like we can't really like have agents. Okay. So until I get like the official like bump to full blown editor, but it's the same like thing, right? Because when it comes to like contract negotiations or deal memos, doing the negotiations for your rate, which I had such an epic like hurtful experience like last year, and it really fucked me up. And it also like contributed to like some of this shit in the business where I'm just like, this shit's not really, I applaud everybody doing all the DEI work like in the business, but there are so many like hurdles. There's so many hurdles, like it never really ends. Right. It never really ends. And what I'm learning is the number one thing in this business, it's not even just about like opening doors, because what they'll say is, well, opening doors, we hire like a black PA or whatever.
Right.
Okay. What is that gonna do?
What can they do?
Right. And then there's nothing like beyond like that opportunity, right? They're not really like looking out for that person like after the fact. There aren't really like doors being open. I'll know when real doors are being opened when a person of color is put in a position of power where they're able to do hiring. Mm-hmm. That is when I know when a company is really trying to like do some shit. When they put somebody or a project, whatever, when they put somebody in a position of power where they can do hiring.
Yeah.
And then that's when I'm like, okay, they trust this person. This is a good company, like whatever else. There's no it's also like a lot of like conscious and unconscious bias going on in the business. But yeah, all of this stuff, I say all of this just to say that like it takes so much more than just like offering like a job opportunity. When people get into these positions, especially when there's no one else there that looks like you, if you don't have anyone else there to kind of like support you, anyone else there who like, just for me, I've never worked on a project with another like black person in my role or above me ever on any of my projects ever across the board.
Hell yeah.
So like even when there are like discriminatory things, I can't even be like, yo, my nigga, did you just hear that? Am I crazy?
Yeah. And then you start feeling crazy.
And then you start feeling crazy. But like I had one of my like good friends tell me one time, a white guy, he was like, yo, like you think everything, you think whenever someone treats you bad, it's because like you're a woman. I said, no, my nigga. Sometimes I think it's because I'm black.
Right.
But he wouldn't know that, right? Because you don't know what that feels like. You don't know when like someone lays out a red carpet for you and I'm doing the same thing and they spit at me or something, like, and I get it. Like there's that disconnect or whatever. But yeah, there's so much more that's needed in these spaces than like sometimes like just a job, and that's just going to take like time. And what comes with that is like you're going to have to put people in positions of power, of hiring power, so that like these environments can be a little bit like more diverse. And it's not just to hire people because they're black, but like let's be real. Hollywood, LA, like none of this shit is a meritocracy. Like that is not how this shit works. And like you said, it's how like the number of projects that you do, the amount of experience and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
The number of opportunities, experiences, chances that we get to fuck up are so much fewer than our counterparts that it's kind of discouraging. So like the last like 2 years I've dealt with so much of that where I'm like, fuck, there's so much of this system to beat.
Yeah,
like, how am I gonna do it?
Well, and I guess the part
I'm gonna do it, but I don't know how to fuck or how old.
I mean, I think you're doing it. I think you're doing it. You're in the middle of it. You're in the middle of the woods. Now you're like trying to get out of the middle of the woods. But I think, and I feel the same, but like.
That's why your book was so important. I read that shit. Thank you. I read it right when I was in like the heart of some difficult shit. And I was like, oh my God, just to read these stories and be like, fuck, it's not just me. Like people are really like experiencing this shit in every industry, every age. Like, yeah. That book it literally could not have come to me at a better time. Yeah.
I appreciate that. I need to hear that. I appreciate that. I think even with representation in hiring, and I don't want to go too far. I don't want to.
Yeah, this is a whole other thing.
Preach, but when you hire, I'm just saying it as plainly as possible. Oftentimes, when white folks hire a black person into a role of power, they hire the black person who reflects on them, who makes them feel good.
Good, yes.
You know what I mean? That's the worst kind of nigga to work for. That could be worse than working for a white person sometimes. Like,
but that's the thing, right? I don't think that like white people also notice like you have such a bias that you're literally choosing people. Because I know, listen, I get a lot of jobs because I really love connecting with people, any people. And I feel like you could put me in a room anywhere and I just take an interest in people's lives.
Yeah.
But I realized that like a lot of people that like I grew up with, like black people in my neighborhood, there are certain like things like maybe they might not know how to relate to somebody who went to Harvard and is,
yes, their
parents are the CEO of like a top whatever company.
Right.
But that's where the disconnect happens, where it's like, man, you just lost your best worker because during the interview they didn't make you feel like you connected with them. You saw yourself in them. And that's really how most people get jobs, particularly in Hollywood.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's the culture fit kind of bullshit thing.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna leave that alone for a second because I don't know. We just are.
That's too deep.
No, it's not too deep.
Not too deep, but I mean, like we could chat forever.
Exactly.
About any of these topics, though. Yeah.
No, I know we could, and just so you know, like. It's part of the conceit for all this was just I had a feeling you'd be really good at it. I think you are really good at it. And I'm hoping
you always think like so.
You're dope, Kristin.
I know, but like you always be like you're gonna be like really. Yeah, I was thinking about exes because like I was going out for the bartender, like a smaller role. He was like, "No, I think you'll be good like as the lead." I'm like, "Dog, like why?" I don't know why, but
because you're singular. You know what I mean? Because you're singular. You're like
I appreciate
you have
that.
your cutout. You know what I'm saying? Like that to me, that's the thing.
I appreciate that.
Have you do you do a lot of interviews? Have you done stuff like that? I don't know if it's an interview per se, but like have you done this before?
No, I did like one thing for like the Black Women Film Network a few years back, which was so much fun. They just had me kind of talk about like, my job and stuff. It's all I could talk about posting what I do like all day. Like that's how I know I love it. I know I'm such a
you're such a fucking nerd.
I be trying to like educate people on posts. They be like, nigga, I don't care. I don't give a shit about what your job. I be like, no, but it's so much fun. I remember I was like trying to like convince this girl to like enter post. No, but you should like come into post. Like it's so much fun. Like it's kind of like writing, but you do it with the footage and then you get to choose. It's really hard to like,
get people excited about what you like. I know. I'll be like, let me tell you about podcast economics.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, but wait, you can do it 3 different ways.
Do not care.
Well, I think I'll come back to it later after the show, but I think I just feel like you have a whole creative world in so many dimensions that you like can play, and I feel like this is a good one for you. That's my personal point of view, and I was even trying to think about why do I think that. At some points, I was trying to think like, why do you think that? And I don't know, it's just a feeling. Some people I'm just like, I don't know, just they just have a thing. So
we just have a good rapport too. Like I feel like every time, like I was thinking we ran into each other at the NAACP, the Image Awards. You remember that? We had such a deep conversation.
Yeah, I know. And that's the thing is because when I see people
at the middle of the awards, it was like this is not even.
I don't really understand the other thing that is. This is gonna sound crazy, and I'm probably not gonna start doing this, but I understand why people wear shades inside now.
Dog,
you don't want to get stuck in the bullshit conversations with people, and if you just can avoid eye contact, then they won't talk to you.
Yeah. It's a little pressury. Yeah, it just removes a lot of pressure.
Right, but then you're also the nigga with shades on.
Yeah, but then you're
which
that.
Is a whole different thing. But maybe that's better. Like, yeah, I don't like. I like when I see somebody who I really know outside. I feel wrong if I don't like. Let me even take it here. You mentioned your friend who you had the moment of like your ex-friend who you were just like, we don't need to be friends, right?
An associate who had the chance to be promoted to friend. But go ahead.
Exactly. I got plenty of people like that who are ex-friends. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And when I see them outside, I don't want to dap unless we have talked out what the thing is.
Dog, I'm the same way.
I don't even want to like
let's not even. No, we ain't got to play the game. Like it's cool, bro.
Yeah, we got shit to talk about.
Yeah, or not. And if not, then we're good.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Like everybody ain't got to be like besties. And really, like I can forgive you for some fuck shit, but like that doesn't mean you have access to me anymore. Like I can be completely like fine and over everything and how you made me feel, but like also like just don't want that. Because I know me. I will start overextending myself, start doing things and really being that,
friend
version. Yeah. But I mean, everybody has I'm not to say like I'm the perfect friend. I'm sure people have like their.
What do you think? Oh, this is a fun game.
Oh God.
Okay, I got two questions. The first one is an easy one. It's just a one-word answer. And then I want to follow up by what would your friends say is annoying about you? But the first question is this. Ugh. You got to LA, right? 10 plus years ago.
11. I just celebrated 11 on the 3rd.
11, that's
11 in 2 days.
I've been here for 12 years.
3 days, yeah.
Wow. Let's say you had your 5 closest friends in LA when you got there, right? Whoever those people were. No?
5 closest? No.
You had no friends?
I
couple.
Did. I did.
Few. Yeah.
I had when I first came.
Yes. Don't name them because of the follow-up question.
Okay.
Don't name them.
I was just about to.
I knew you were. Don't name them. Okay, so you had 5. Did you have 5 close friends?
I didn't. I did not have 5
You had fewer than that.
Yeah. I'm really like, you talking about like close friends?
I just mean you had your 5, whoever your friends were, you had 5 who were your closest maybe the 3 were actually close friends and then 2 were like wavy friends.
No, I had like associates and then like 2 close friends.
Okay. At some point you had 5 close friends in LA. Is that true?
Okay. No. I don't like close. Close is like I've learned this from some New Yorkers now. They got me in check now. What is a friend? What do you define as a friend,
That's
Kristin?
a fact. Because y'all niggas say anything.
Exactly. And that's how I used to be. But now I've learned, you're right. That person is not necessarily like my friend.
Well, what I was trying to get to, right, is like when I came to New York, I had my 5 closest friends when I got here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think a single one of those people lives here anymore.
Right.
So that's what I was going to ask you is you got to LA and you had your 5 closest friends. How many of those people are still among your 5 closest friends? And I would guess the answer is probably at least 1 or 2. Maybe 1. Yeah. One.
And I've made one really close friend while being in LA. Like she's probably become like one of my best friends. We like talk every day. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't even know why I asked that, but I thought it was interesting. For the follow-up question, what would your friends say is annoying about you?
Oh my God, what's not annoying? I mean, honestly, I have a childhood best friend where we've been friends since I was like 2. She was 3 or something. And I think her number one thing would be I am like so direct, especially like when with my close friends, and if like there's like some fuck shit going on or like whatever, especially when it comes to them, I'd be like, my nigga, like you don't need to be going through this. Like
Right.
this is stupid as fuck. Like, you know, like all that's the kind of stuff like I'll be like, I'm very like direct. I've been trying to like really reel it in and just know that like my delivery, particularly like my tone, if it doesn't sit right well with people, it doesn't matter what I'm saying. I could be 100% right, but if it doesn't sit well with people, they're not going to hear me. And so that's something that like I'm really trying to reel in. But for me, it's an authenticity thing. Like this is how I talk. I grew up with boys. Like I've always had to like fight for like myself
Space.
and always with my brothers. And it was always like a push, you know, like we don't even have emotional conversations. You know what I'm saying? Me and my brothers. It's just not a thing. Like we're always going in on each other. Like it's either them two going in on me and one of them going in on the other. Like it's, you know, so I've always had to, that's how I hold myself, you know, in conversation, especially with people I'm comfortable with. So they probably say like, Kristin, like you're real, like, I don't know, rough around the edges and stuff like that.
I don't know. I don't
Direct.
see you that way. I mean, I do see you as direct.
Yeah,
but
men
I like
typically
that about
don't. Well,
you. Okay,
men.
I hear you.
Yeah, men don't feel that way. A lot of women will feel that way.
What about men when you're dating?
Oh, that's a really good one. Well, they definitely probably feel like I should be softer. I had one guy tell me. Yeah, I had one guy tell me, he was like, "Well, I mean, this is so funny." He was just like, "Well, you know, like my girl or like my wife, you know, we're together, like she's not gonna be able to work." And I was like, "Oh wow." I was like, so he was like, "Yeah, but like you're saying you want to work, Kristin, but wait till you have kids. Like you don't even know how, like when you have kids, it's gonna be so different for you. You're gonna feel so differently. You're just gonna want to be." And I said, "You don't have no kids." But yeah, you're gonna tell a woman like how she feels. I think I am such a person where like my greatest fear in life is being like trapped in anything. If I can't like up and move, like this strike business is really fucking me up because like my income hasn't been the same. I haven't been able to just pick up and go. Like whenever I start to feel that way, my world starts to crumble. So like even the idea of like becoming a parent or whatever else, yeah, like I want that. Like I want to be like a spouse, and I know that a lot of that stuff comes with sacrifice. But like to be told like, oh, I'm not ever going to do this other thing or not,
Right.
That to me is like death in and of itself. And I don't think that like,
I can't imagine you with a person who
who would say that.
Who at least couldn't be trained to know you cannot. There's a lot of fucking training.
No, there's training.
Place.
There's
like,
training on both sides.
On both sides. And
you've been trained. You've been trained.
Nigga, I'm trained. I mean, and I'm in training. And
come on, fiance, with the training.
Well, because I can't be fake because, like, I think you probably met me when I was most in pursuit of like being a certain type of man, which was the type that Morehouse guys are supposed to be trained to be. And that way of being is almost entirely now in conflict with what I think a woman wants to be married to. And personally, like who I actually am. In a lot of ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So but I can't be fake and act like I never thought like that person who said that thing to you. I don't think I ever had the idea that my partner, my wife, wasn't gonna work because my mom worked for 30. My mom still works. Like she's been working for 40 years. So.
And let me just clarify, like there's nothing wrong with like anybody living however they choose. Maybe like you don't want to work. A lot of people don't want to work.
However they choose.
They choose. And really it's about finding a partner who is in line like with whatever values whatever they are, find somebody who is in line with those values. But like for me,
I just can't see that.
I love my work way too much.
And your work is too much of an adventure to give it away. You know what I mean? So much of the adventure in life gets reduced over time that like I feel like if my work can't be an adventure, then that's just very dark and scary. I don't like it.
I don't like it. Like, I worked for the government, you know, when I was in
Oof.
grad school. And that's when, yeah, like when I was in grad school, a lot of those people were like, dog, like if you interested in something else. Because what spewed me to go to entertainment, I'm not sure if I ever like elaborate on
I've
this
never
with you.
known this.
Really?
No.
So my childhood, like I told you, my other childhood best friend who's 2 and 3, there were basically like 3 or 4 of us. But one of them passed away unexpectedly in a car accident when I was at Howard in grad school.
Oh wow.
And
Jesus Christ.
yeah, it like really fucked me up too, because like I said, I was already on a mission of like, when I'm focused on something, like that's all that there is. So I would go like months without talking to my friends. And it just so happened that that friend had just called me the night before.
Wow.
Like hours before they had died. And I had blew it off. I was like, oh, like fuck it. I'll get back to him tomorrow. Like we talk all the time. It was like my childhood best friend. So I was like, it's cool. I'll holler at him later. And he ended up dying.
Damn.
It fucked me up completely. And that's when I was like, yo, he was the one who always told me, like, Kristin, like, all you do is talk about movies and film. You know all these actors, like, you know, so you need to do this job. And I was like, God, what are you talking about? Like, I don't even know anything about the business. Like, who the fuck do we know in Indiana or wherever about this job? Like, whatever. But when that happened, I was so fucked up. I was like, yo, like, his life was so together that you just never would have thought he didn't even like to party. He went out that night. He had tweeted, this was his last tweet, Chad. It said, it was the craziest thing. His last tweet literally said, this is so unlike me. What am I doing out here?
Oh, no.
I should have stayed at home.
Oh,
he died like less than an hour later. It was
driving? He was driving?
He wasn't driving. Our other friend was driving.
Damn.
It was a really sad situation, but it fucked me up. But I became determined because I was like, yo, like, he was very adamant about me pursuing this thing. He was like the only person that was like always on me, like, Kristin, like, dog, like, you need to do that. You need to do this. And so that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to just see. I was working for the government. I'm going to just see for the summer. I'm going to take this class at USC for the summer and just see what comes of it. You know, my boss at the government was like, she was a black lady. And this is, I will never forget it. She was like, yo, do that shit. Like, go away for the summer. We'll keep your job. You can come back in the fall. But, like, explore that other shit. Like, you don't have to be committed to this job or any other. Like, whatever interests you, like, go do that shit. Explore it. Figure it out. This is the time.
She gave you some freedom.
Yes. Yeah. But, like, without that, and, you know, for someone to, like, see, like, this is not all that there is. Like, life is so much. I would have never gone.
Where were you going at that point? Like, were you just inert? Was it inertia? Was it just like, where were you even trying to be?
Exactly. My entire life, like, I've literally just made decisions on how things make me feel. So, like, even undergrad, I never knew what I wanted to do for a job, but I love math. So I knew I was going to major in math. And the same thing with grad school. Like, I was like, yo, like, I really love math. Like, I really want to get my master's. I guess I'll do it in math.
Right.
And I never knew about what I wanted to do for a career.
Okay.
So, like, I was just riding the wave. And so when it was time to, like, start interviewing for jobs, I was, like, interviewing, like, with Bloomberg and, you know, considering doing, like, the actuarial, you know, route, all that kind of shit. But I had no plan, like, job-wise. I loved math. I could do it all day. It brought me joy. And so that's why I pursued it.
Wait, we have to talk about Keke Palmer, but
oh yeah,
I want to ask you one more question about this
sir.
thing. So, your friend died. How did you learn that?
That he died?
Yeah.
I got a call from his then girlfriend, with my other childhood best friend. They were both on the phone together.
Wow.
And they were like, he died. And I was like, no, that's a mistake. They were like, that couldn't have been. I was completely in denial. Like, I was in shock, I guess. And I was like, no. They were like, no, it's him. We have all of his things. He's gone. And I was complete. All I did was let out a loud yelp and tears. And me and Beth were living together. And so Beth comes in and she's like, yo. And I was just like, I was a mess. You know, and I always had a fear growing up because I was always, like, gone for the summers. And so when I went off to college, one of my fears was, like, something's going to happen to somebody and I'm not going to be able to get home soon enough. And I remember I called my mom to tell her. And the first thing I said was, I told you this was going to happen one day. I just was like, I told you this was going to happen one day, you know. It's really sad when you know, you think about it. But I had such, like, anxiety, like, after that moment, just about, like, death. But I realize now, like, that was needed. That experience for me, like, served multiple purposes. But also, like, ever since that point, like, I have genuinely learned to like live my life in such like a fearless kind of way where it's just like fuck it. Like I don't really care. And I've learned to like really max out and enjoy my time with people. Like whatever it is, I'm just going to enjoy this moment with them. I'm going to soak up every detail of their face,
Right.
of their attitude, of no,
Their
really, like
face.
it that's what it really taught me. So it was,
Wow.
it was really sad, and I was still so young. We were like 21, 22 when it happened.
Yeah.
22, maybe it was like 22, 23, but still, it just like really fucked me up. I hadn't known anybody that died also.
Well, that was in DC. I'm from Silver Spring, obviously. Josh heard me record a whole 8-episode series about this. It hasn't come out yet, but it's coming out sometime probably in the fall. But my best friend when I was 16 in high school, she was my best friend from birth, from preschool all the way to high school. Died in a car accident close to our high school. Ran into like a block away from our school. The driver sped off and hit a street light and like died instantly. And it's just crazy to me because now I'm starting, as we're
Maturing.
getting a little, thank you. That's a nice way to say it. We're maturing. I'm thinking about how far I go back with some of the people in my life.
Yes.
Kelly Clark called me on my parents' house phone in the morning the next day to tell me that Alicia had died, right? Because she was, they were on Palms together at our high school.
Yeah.
And, like, still to this day, when I think of or see Kelly, I think of like that phone call, right? It never, because it's just kind of like, I don't know, you don't really have that many experiences like that. And so everything
16.
feels real. Yeah, like 16. Like,
that's like
I
couldn't even.
I still have like car anxiety.
Yeah.
When I was 25-ish, I went home one time. This is when like I was drinking a lot after college, and went home one time, drove super drunk in the same kind of vicinity of where she had died, got pulled over, like stopped at a stoplight, asleep at the light type of thing. Like,
bruh.
I know, right? And got the whole thing, got a DUI, had to go to classes, like this whole shit. But that was kind of what started me. I was like, all right, you are self-sabotaging.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Now it's time. But a part of it also was that was very soon before I made this pivot into like this life, because I was just, I don't know, I just felt asleep at the wheel of my life. I was just like, I just keep putting disconnected. And like Nina and Leon were like leaving New York. Leon had left New York and they were in LA, and like they were like doing the whole thing, and I was just like, what the fuck am I doing? So I don't know, not to co-opt the story, but I relate very much to what you might have felt at that point. All right, Keke Palmer.
Oh my God.
No more feelings.
I got feelings about this. Shame.
Okay, Keke Palmer's. I'm paraphrasing you all because I really don't read the internet, and Morgan sends me like, she's like, this is what's going on. Also, Juliana she knows what's happening, so I don't really know the ins and outs, but it sounds like this is what happened. Keke Palmer went to the Usher concert.
Usher causing a lot of. Hey,
I mean,
every
week
I know. Every week though, it's something like, look at Usher in the.
He's exposing a crack. So every week.
Get that money. Shout out Usher.
Keke Palmer, I know, and also Vegas. Like, this is Vegas.
This man has been putting this show on for like a year, dog.
Yeah,
he is getting the bread, and it's every. I'm sorry.
I wish we went to Vegas. Juliana wanted to go to the Usher concert. Yeah. I was like too angsty about if I was gonna win this award that I was up for. Didn't win it, and we didn't go to Usher. And I wish that we had gone to Usher. That was a bad move by me. I'm sorry, okay. Julesy.
Lesson learned.
It's so stupid. I get very invested in things. And I'm like, So anyway, Keke Palmer went to the Usher concert. I saw her outfit. I thought it was pretty sexy.
Yeah. Like, she had her cheeks out.
Nothing crazy to me, but what's the way that I can say this? I like my partner to, if she wants to, I like her to have her I like her to like.
Here you go tiptoeing on the.
What am I? Can you just say what I'm trying to say?
No, you say what you.
I mean, I like that kind of stuff. Like if that's how your person likes to dress, like I'm into that. I'm not into.
But you know, like the issue is like ever since Keke had the baby, she has been
showing her body. She's been.
But she looks so good.
She looks way better than she used to look.
She looks. That's a bad bitch. Okay, she looks so good.
She was looking like she was trying to look like middle-aged before.
She just was. It wasn't like she was as invested. I think like. I don't know. Like her entire style like even shifted in like a way. I'm like, wow, this bitch is bad. She seems way more confident in her body too. Like she maybe that's what it was. Like she filled out after her baby and talks about like how she got bigger breasts and stuff. And she just is real confident. She's loving her body.
Obviously it's worked out a lot to like, you know what I mean? To look how she looks. Yeah. It's probably taken a lot of work.
Yeah.
And she's been showing it off. She was showing it off at the Usher concert. Usher came over and serenaded her, as he does at every show, to somebody or multiple somebodies.
Yes.
This is what I've gleaned from the from the internet. And her man's mad. Her baby daddy's mad. He's been tweeting about it. He tweeted about it.
Yes, he did. He did. Come on, bruh.
When I first saw that, I was kind of like, all right, maybe this is their relationship, right? Maybe this is like, maybe he's joking, maybe he's fucking around, maybe whatever. Like, maybe that's how they get down. But then it's unfolded such that it's obviously not that. He's actually mad. And she's actually...
Has she said anything? I haven't seen anything. I've been waiting to see like how she's going to respond.
Maybe while we've been recording this, but take it away, Kristin. What...
No, say what he said in his tweet. Do you know what he said?
Did he say you're a mom?
It's the outfit for me. You're a mom.
Right.
Excuse me? Excuse me? My God. This might be why I'm single right here. Because is that the pool I'm choosing from? That's the pool?
You tell me. I don't know. I mean, that's not the whole pool, but we know some niggas like that.
Shit. I just... Like policing people's bodies. Like I don't understand why it matters so much to niggas. Like I'll never, and I get why it matters to him because like that's the mother of his child, like whatever else. But also like, what type of character is Keke? I guess I'm more concerned like who do you know her to be as a person? And you feel the need to comment that because of like the outfit she has on, and your one thing to say is she's a mom. So wait, does that mean what the fuck does she have a mom? Like, I don't get it.
I think I'm gonna play
be a certain way when you're a mom.
Advocate. I think that this is what I was trying to say. If my partner wants to have her ass and titties out, I think that's awesome. I like that. I'm into that. If that's what they want to do. Mm-hmm. What I think this guy. I guess that's the common thread is like...
That's not how a mom dresses.
That's not how mom dresses. That's not how I want... But I think what it really is like, that's not how I want this person who belongs to me walking around. And I'm offended and I feel insecure that Usher...
Yes.
But I don't even know like if there's anything interesting to say about that point of view. It's like, oh, I guess that is how niggas be acting.
That is how niggas be acting. That's exactly how they act. What's crazy to me is Keke could be all dressed up, right? And this, I don't know these people. I don't know Keke, whatever. I don't know him. But this is all to say, like, this nigga would probably be cheating with a bitch dressed worse than Keke in a week. Mm-hmm. This is the standard, particularly on black women. Mm-hmm. It's so funny. Like, we have to be all the above. We have to be momish when we have the kids, but we still got to be sexy. We still got to be cute, but we got to be confined. You can't be on the scene. You still got to be in the know a little bit, or like there's all these little like layered pieces. And it doesn't matter like if you check those boxes or the fuck you don't. Like if it's a shitty person, if it's a shitty nigga, he's still going to do what he going to do. There is no perfect woman outside of whoever you deem is the perfect mate for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, none of this shit is like, there's no reason for you to bring that shit to the internet. Like, but I get why he did it also, right? Like, you got to say something to let it be known to the public. Like, I'm not on board with this shit for, let me do the ego shit. So niggas don't think I'm on board with this fuckery that I'm clearly not on board with.
What is that? I mean, what does that? I had a whole argument with, TJ and Ashil.
Yes, love them. Shout out.
They're coming here on Tuesday, I think. But
that's their second appearance, ain't it?
It is.
Come on now.
Yeah, they're coming up from DC, from Maryland. We were having an argument about Zion Williams. You know the stuff about Zion Williamson?
I am just now like catching up to that shit.
Long story short, Zion Williamson having a baby by, I believe, a woman who works in adult films. He was also dating another woman who worked in adult films before the baby was announced. And Mariah Mills, who's the other one, mm-hmm. She was mad. Mm-hmm. She's mad. And she put it on she went on the internet, on Twitter. She was really wilding out. And I was taking the position that if somebody crosses you, if somebody makes you feel embarrassed or humiliated, and you are the kind of person who lives your life in public, then it would make sense. It would follow that, like, you express your anger publicly. Like, you make your embarrassment. If you're mad at Zion for what he's done to you, like, I wouldn't expect someone who works in porn to be, like, super private about their feelings of embarrassment.
See, so wait, let's think about this. Mm-hmm. She works in porn. She's a porn star.
Yes.
But what is, like, her image or her brand, though, right? Because, like, you can be a porn star, or perfect example. Abel doesn't do interviews.
Right. True.
His life is supposedly very public or whatever because he's a celebrity.
Right.
But he's not going to talk about...
That's his choice.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, to me, it always speaks to, like, the character of a person. Like, mm-hmm. Is that, like, your job? Like, I wouldn't say, like, I get into a fight with Colin Cowherd. Yeah, I expect that nigga to probably say some shit on his show.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Uh-huh.
But, like porn, like, that's a little different. I wouldn't necessarily assume. It's not to say, like, I'm not shocked, but...
What do you think about just the idea in general of... Like, that's so personal. This is a guy and his baby mama. Like, that's very personal. But, like, what do you think in general about people arguing in public forum with their friends? We have friends who say wild shit on the internet. We do.
Yes.
I don't think
I just said one person.
Am I one of them?
No, you're just one.
Absolutely. Right? But, absolutely. But what do you think about, like, what if do you ever feel inclined to respond to that person and say, dog, you're wilding. Like, what the fuck are you saying?
No, because I'll tell you, I would get way too invested in conversations like that. And once I see, like, somebody's already, like, off the deep end, it's not worth my energy. I used to be, like, early in internet days, I'd want to respond to all those, like, fuckery, like, statuses and shit. Then I realized, like, what the fuck is this doing really for me? And also, that's just not how I move. Like, usually it's got to be, like I said, my people. Like, I'll talk to my people and have real honest conversations. But a lot of these niggas and shit, they not even worth the energy. So, like, once I see, like, somebody's on some fuck shit, and especially in their tweets or whatever content they have, I'm like, all right, bro, I'm just going to remove myself from this equation. I'm just going to unfollow. I don't need any of that energy. I don't need none of that.
Do you feel like it's fair for somebody's online persona to affect your real life relationship with them? Let me make it more specific. He's not your only friend who be wilding on the internet. You probably have a few friends that be wilding on the internet. We all got a few friends that be wilding on the internet.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. But it's like when you start speaking, like, very, like derogatory, like, shit or, like, what, that's when I just don't feel comfortable. And the fact that you felt comfortable, like, saying this, like, to the world, and particularly, let me get this straight. The person who I'm thinking of particularly, I've had one-on-one conversations with this motherfucker, and I'm like, oh, yeah, this person is lost touch. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, it's not good for me to feed into that. I deal with, and you know what it is? Maybe if, like, I dealt with, like, more blackness and more, like, I know race has, but it does have a way of dealing with it. But, like, if I dealt with, like, more people who, like, culturally speaking, like, shared my, experience on a day-to-day basis, then maybe I'd have more patience for it. But I don't have that on a day to day in my professional space. So like I have very limited like patience for exposing myself to shit that is completely like the antithesis to like everything that like I believe in.
I feel that. I feel that.
That's a lot. That was really wordy.
No, I mean that's a real answer. Like if you don't,
But yes, that's a fair. There's consequences to everything, Chad. You gonna do something, just know it doesn't matter. Life ain't fair, okay?
life is not fair. All right, I have to give my little. First of all, this is very lovely. Thank you for coming here.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have fun?
I had a lot of fun. This is good.
Would you do it again?
Yeah.
Okay, great. More on that after we wrap this up. But all right, a couple things. One is just a dream that I had, which was actually a nightmare, and I don't even feel like it's necessarily related to the main point of what I'm saying here, but I just want to share it, which is I had a dream that I was playing pool with Tiger Woods, and we're off to a good start, right? I had a dream I was playing pool with Tiger Woods, and he cheated. He cheated, right? And first I was like so into it. I was like, this is so dope. I'm playing pool with Tiger Woods. This is crazy. He cheated. He cheated, and I was like, hold on, bro. Like you're supposed to shoot from there. Like, why are you doing that? I don't know. This is dream pool, so the rules are not exactly like pool. But I knew he cheated, and he knew he cheated, and I could tell he knew he cheated. And I was like, he was like, nah, man, blah, blah, blah. He was like, no, it's supposed to be this, whatever. And I was like, you're a liar. And then he looked at me and he poked me in this shoulder, in my left shoulder. And he's strong. Like, he really poked me. And he was like, you're a liar. And I realized in that moment why people don't like Tiger Woods. Because he's a liar. Because he lied. I never understood it before. I was like, who cares? Like, this is his personal life, blah, 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 whatever. But, like,
it took you losing to him, it
took him doing it to me.
Yeah, in the dream.
And then he gaslighted me.
Yeah. Okay.
And the gaslighting is I actually think lying is like, it's not good, but gaslighting is it's a further abuse. It's like, not only did you try to trick me, but then you tried to make me think I was wilding.
Yeah. Yeah.
That really upset me. And it was one of those dreams, some of those dreams where like you wake up and your body feels the thing that you felt in the dream.
Yeah.
I was like, the poke is here in my shoulder.
Stop it.
And I didn't know why I had that dream until I went and we need some kind of chime for like name drops, but I went and played golf again with Angie yesterday. And as I'm hitting the ball, I was like, oh, this is why I dreamed about Tiger Woods last night, is because I had golf coming up the next day and I was feeling some kind of way about how I was going to do. But it crystallized something for me about gaslighting. I'm like, I get it. I get why gaslighting makes people so angry.
Have you been gaslit?
I would have to say, of course, right? Like, I'm black.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. I
think there's a very specific way that men gaslight women that I can't completely relate to.
I wasn't even thinking of that, yeah.
But I would say, let me think of it.
It just happened to me or at least consciously just happened to me for the first time.
By a friend?
Someone I thought was a friend, but it was really like a working like associate person. I was like, am I? And then I realized, I was like, oh, this is gaslighting? It hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, oh, this is terrible.
Yes, this is terrible because you're like, this is like a foul. Like,
you're
trying to cause harm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like mental like abuse because you're like, am I losing it? Like, am I, what? Yeah.
Am I bugging?
Yeah, am I bugging?
Yes, I didn't like that, Tiger Woods. Dream Tiger Woods. I hope I don't see you again. Okay, now this is the real thing I want to talk about. I wanted to talk about I feel excited about this because this is real and it's not allowed. It is something that is frowned upon, but I know that we all can relate to it. So, Schadenfreude. You know what Schadenfreude is?
Hell no.
You know what Schadenfreude is, Josh? Schadenfreude is finding joy in the misfortune of others.
Oh.
It is something that I think is a very human experience. I don't think any of us need to feel shame about it. You're not supposed to do it, but it happens sometimes. And here's how it comes up. So,
why was so bad about that? Did you not?
What do you mean?
There's something like really wrong with it.
I guess some people would
It's a
say
personal feeling.
it's
You
a
can't control.
feeling.
You can't control your
it.
feelings.
But
so.
see, but that's why I think okay. I think that the things I like about you make me think everybody must like you. But that's not true. And that's a
what?
That's a cognitive error that I have a lot, which is thinking that something I like, everybody likes.
Yeah, same.
But you probably feel me on because it's a feeling. You can't connect it.
Yeah.
You can't control it. And I will tell you, I think that is the thing in my life that has most made people think I'm an asshole is they can see I have a smirk on my face a lot of the time.
You do have a smirk on your face.
Because I always be thinking some shit is funny. Like, and a lot of times the thing I think is funny, it's not nice. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I see that there's tension between those two people. We're not talking about it, but it's obvious. Like, so
it's funny.
It's funny. So here's how it relates to sports. ESPN. Are you familiar with the layoffs at ESPN?
Someone just told me, like Jalen Rose was let go, right?
Yes, he was.
Oh, man.
Exactly. Indeed. Oh, man. A bunch of people are getting fired from ESPN. ESPN is obviously like the hot shot place to work.
Yeah.
If you work in sports, it is the HBO of sports. It's the
entertainment is taking some blows, but I'm sorry.
That's a
fact. Shocked. I had no idea they were doing
that. Also, there is a writer's strike obviously going on, and a lot of people are having a hard time with the writer's strike. I have known there are some writers, and this part I don't feel good about. There are like lower level writers who live check to check off the projects they work on, who are like doing rideshare and shit right now because they can't pay their bills.
We all about to.
Well, here's my thing. Okay, so in the coverage of the ESPN layoffs around sports, TJ was the one who used this point, like this I don't know what the word is, like this wording for it yesterday, but like there's a twinkle in the eye as people in other areas of sports are reporting on these ESPN layoffs.
Yeah.
Yes. Which I think I also feel that twinkle in the eye when I see people get fired from big corporations because there's like people walk with their shoulders a little bit wider when they think they are backed by something that is bigger than them.
Right.
And that is also true for a lot of TV writers. There are people who think that because they have constant, steady work in a certain business, that they are safe.
Immune, yeah.
And nobody's safe. When I see these people get fired from big corporations, my first inclination, I'm sorry if I'm a bad person for this, it is not to say like, oh man, that's going to be rough for them finding another way to. It's like, no, you are back out here in the wilderness with the rest of us. Let's see how you can get it without ESPN's name behind you. Let's see if you can go find a team, get some cameras, put a whole thing together and build it from the ground up. And I feel this like it's fake. I feel like there's like this certain tone people think they have to talk about people like the ESPN people getting laid off where it's like you're supposed to feel bad for them. But meanwhile, they are constantly shitting on athletes who get cut, who underperform, who have to get moved around teams because they're not good enough. And then when the same thing is like shown on them, I don't know, it gets all a little bit sensitive. It gets all a little bit squeamish.
Yeah.
This is my thought.
Fair. Wait, do you think that's what happened with like Shannon Sharp?
No. Okay. I think Shannon Sharp had enough of working with Skip Bayless. And he grew his own platform. The rumor is that ESPN's about to sign him.
Yeah, he's about to do his own thing, yeah.
And that dovetails right into the last thing I want to say here, which is I was watching a Steven Victor interview. You know who Steven Victor is? Steven Victor, who I just found out went to Morehouse. He's like, I think he's 43. He manages Pusha T. He manages Gervonta Davis. He manages The Dream. And he was managing Pop Smoke. And I was watching this interview with him on Rap Radar, the Rap Radar podcast. And when managers go on these interviews, nobody watches the interviews, but they're often, at times, I think, a lot more insightful than the artists.
Yeah.
And he was saying this thing about like, I wrote it down, but I don't know if I can all. Oh, I can see it. He said I clipped it and saved it in my phone because I'm gonna watch it over and over. He was talking about building Pop Smoke as an artist, and Pop Smoke wanted to be as big as Kanye. That was his goal. I want to have the cultural influence and be as big as Kanye. And his strategy to do so was, I'm gonna go do this feature and that. I'm gonna go Lil Durk's album, Lil Baby's album, this one, that one. And Steven Victor was like, no. He's like, what you have to do is be centered. You have to. This is a quote. You have to be the person responsible for your success. You can't be on a song with an artist bigger than you or have them on your song, because then they're going to get the credit for your success. People will be able to pinpoint where your success came from.
Wow. Good point.
It was one of those things where I feel like I extra heard something that I was already looking for, because I feel like at this point, and I am being a robot now just because I need to get the clip, but like I have an excess of cosigns. Now I want to have my own you built your audience as your own thing. This is not Julie Bowen's audience. This is not Issa Rae's audience. This is not Spike Lee's audience. Not Will Packer's audience. It's not Morgan Freeman's audience. This is Chad's audience, because to me, that's the only thing you can trade on. We're going to find out if Jalen Rose can leave ESPN and go make something happen somewhere else, or is he just going to leave and go work for Bill Simmons, which he might. Do you know who Bill Simmons is?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, you do. He's
a writer, right?
Yeah, he's a writer who built an empire with the foundation as his writing. So anyway, I thought that people do love him. He's kind of an asshole, but I mean, I love him. He's phenomenal, but he's also a 55-year-old white guy from Boston. Yeah. So my last question for you would be, does that resonate? Does that mean something to you?
What?
This Steven Victor point of view, you have to build your thing that is yours. Yes. Independent of whoever else, has their sparkle around you.
Oh, I mean, I think people will tell you that's how I live my life. So even with my career, how the projects that I've chosen, even so what usually happens is an assistant will work under an editor. Once you find an editor, you just stick with the editor, and wherever the editor goes, whatever projects they get, you follow them. For me, I saw what that did to other people's careers. You're not really building your own career of projects.
Right.
So I always made it a point where I'm not going to work with the same editor twice. I'm going to work on different projects every single time so I can build the resume that I want.
So people know what you do.
So people will be like, Kristin. So the number one thing is people. My idea is people will look at my resume or look at me and be like, Kristin works on quality projects, not certain types, or I do actually crazy shit. But they'll be like, she works on quality stuff. She works on, this seems Kristin would do this project. Not necessarily where I've just followed the same creatives, because I've worked with the Euphoria team a few times, but if you notice, I've drifted away from them and worked on several other things with other people too. So that's abnormal. But I support that fully. You have to do that.
I think that way of moving comes with real short-term costs. Has that cost you anything?
What? Yes. Short term and sometimes long term. Because I haven't worked with the same editor for consistently, right? And sometimes that's the way that you get promotions or get credits even sooner, right. So because of that, I haven't gotten certain promotions. I'm literally out here trying to get it on my own. It's not I'm piggybacking off of someone else. I'm literally out here scraping, right. Right. But there's a lot of pride that comes with that too.
What happened? Yeah. Oh shit! All right. Well,
but yeah, that's
so
really
we almost done. We got low battery. Thanks y'all for being here. This is Nothing But Anarchy, episode number 27, I believe.
27.
I know we're still alive. 3 months in, we've survived. This is my friend Kristin Valentine. Kristin, where can they find you?
You can find me in Los Angeles. No, I'm just IG Chris KRISXOXO, and watch The Idol. Watch I helped out on Wonka, that'll be out this Christmas. Sick. Watch that.
Is that like a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory situation?
Yeah, it's the prequel to the Charlie, so it's a young Wonka. Timothy Chalamet is in it. Yeah,
sick.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's a good role for him.
It is. It was perfect, actually.
That feels like the right.
Keegan is also in it too. He's
weirdo.
funny as fuck.
Like Keegan, like Key and Peele Keegan.
Yeah.
Oh, fire! I
Yeah.
can see that.
He's funny.
He's very funny. Okay, thanks, y'all. I don't know how to like adequately end the show, but that's the end of this thing. Nothing but anarchy. Thank you all for being here. You can find the full conversation on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever else. That's it.